Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you step by step through the ABRSM Theory Grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. They're available in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can access information about the books that I have available. I've written How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's an exam technique guide and it's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of the time when you're actually in the exam room. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that'd be really great, that'd be fab. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And so now we're going to crack on with the last paper in this 2016 booklet, and we're looking at grade 5 2016 paper S. So if you turn with me to page 24, we can make a start on this. S stands for specimen paper, which means it was never actually set as an actual exam paper, unlike the theory papers A, B and C. It's just an extra one that they've given you just for some extra practice, just a sample paper. And so I do suggest you have a crack at this first of all. I always say it's just working in pencil. It doesn't matter if you've gone wrong. Learn from your mistakes. You can always just erase them and have another go. You'll learn it much more thoroughly if you have a go on your own first of all. So I'm hoping you've had a crack at this. And so we're going to have a look at question 1. And so all of the answers are relating to this little extract of music here from Handel's Messiah. I've sung that probably more times than I've had hot dinners, it feels like sometimes. I do like it though, never quite gets old. So here we go. We're asked to describe the chords marked A, B and C, and we need to say what position the chord is in. So it's helpfully told us here that we're in the key of G minor, so we can map out our chords straight away. So let's do that. So chords 1, 2, 4 and 5 are our options. If we're in G minor, chord 1 begins on a G, chord 2 begins on an A. We're not doing chord 3, it's a bit of an obscure chord. Chord 4 is chord C and chord 5 is D. So now we need to build a triad on the first, the third and the fifth. If you find that difficult to count, you can always just peep at the piano keyboard. So we've got G, B, D. I know there's flat signs and so on, but your key signature will deal with that. A, C, E, C, E, G, D, F, A, and that F will usually be sharpened in the score with an accidental because that'll be erased 7th in the minor scale. We can also now note down the positions of the chord root position in the first 2 inversions. So that's the thinking done really. Now we just need to allocate the best choice chord to explain these notes. So here in chord A we've got an E, a G and a C. So chord C, E, G gives us all of those notes. So that's a chord 4. It's a C, E, G chord, but because the E is in the bass, it's a chord 4B. So that's that one. So here we have a D, a D, a G and a B. So that's chord 1, G, B, D. But because the D is in the bass, we call that one C because the last note of the triad is in the bass. That's the lowest note. And then the final chord, the F sharp gives us the clue, but let's just double check. We've got a D, 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 F sharp, A, D, F, A, and that's our chord 5. And because the D is in the bass, it's chord in root position, so just 5 will be acceptable, or you could say 5A, just to thoroughly explain that. Either way, that's okay. And so now just generally it's asking us which other key has the same key signature as G minor. Now I always suggest that before you even start an exam, you do get scrap paper in the exam. Write out all of your circle of fifths, your major and minor key signatures, And then you've done the thinking once and you just need to refer to that rather than keep scratching your head and having to figure it out each time. And so we know that B flat major shares the same key signature, or we would say is related to G minor. So B flat major is the answer for that. So let's crack on. So section B. Now we've got a different extract of music here. We've got a bit of Mozart now. And we've got to answer the questions below. So it tells us that the extract begins on the first beat of the bar and we need to put in the missing bar line. So we're in common time, which is 4/4, 4 quarter notes, 4 crotchet beats per bar. And so we just need to find where those beats are. We've got lots of semiquavers and demi-semiquavers, lots of 16th and 32nd notes. So we just need to carefully just count those out. So we know that 4 semiquavers or 4 quarters makes 4 quarters of a beat makes a whole. So 4 16th notes makes a quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us a beat. So if we just keep looking like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, don't forget the rests, of course. Now here we've got 1, 2, and then here we've got 2 demi-semiquavers there, one's a rest, one's a note, so that makes a semiquaver or 16th, and then those two make another 16th or semiquaver. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our next beat. And so here 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us our 2 semiquavers there. 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us our 2 semiquavers there. 1, 2, 3, 4 semiquavers, 4 16ths makes a crotchet. And so there's our bar line. So we've got lots of tiny increments. And so you just need to visualise how you break those notes down. You might even want to just give yourself a little sketch on a piece of scrap paper and just show how these break down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could even just show the quaver, the 8th note, breaking down into 2 semiquavers or 4 32nd notes, 4 demi-semiquavers, just to help you with your maths really. And so here, let's think about this. We've got 2 demi-semis, which is equal to 1 semiquaver or 1 16th note. Then we've got a quaver. The dot after the quaver is half as much again. So we've got a semiquaver or a 16th note. So far we've got a crotchet beat or a quarter note there. There's a nice easy one. That gives us a whole beat. And then we've got a quarter of a beat there. We've got 2 8ths which make a quarter of a beat. There's our semiquaver. We've got a full beat there, and then we've got a half a beat there, or a quaver there. So that half and those 2 quarters join to make a whole, and there's a whole there. So we've got 1, 2, 3 split over the beat, 4. So that's our bar line, so we know we're correct there. Moving on. Now this next line, it looks like it's going to be terribly complicated because of the triplet sign. However, remember it just means 3 in the time of 2. So we know that 3 in the time of 2 demi-semis. That doesn't show very clearly. Let me just do that again. 3 in the time of 2 demi-semiquavers. And we know that 2 demi-semiquavers makes 1 semiquaver, which is a quarter of a beat. We have 2 demi-semis, which make 1 semi, just like we've done there. It's exactly the same. The 3 makes the maths the same exactly. And then we've got a half a beat there, so a half and 2 quarters gives us a full beat. We've got a half and 2/4 again, that gives us a full beat, a half, and then those two and those two give us our 2/4 of a beat, and so there's another beat, and then here we've got 2/4 of a beat, 2 semiquavers there, and the same again there. We know that 4/4 makes a whole beat, and there's another beat, and so there's our bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4 beats. There's one beat. 4/4 make another beat. We've got a quarter. 2/8 make another quarter. That's eighth of a beat, not an eighth note. So we've got a semi and 2 demi-semis, which make a semi, and then another half, so that gives us our another beat there. And also notice that things are beamed to help us, so we could just think there's half a beat. So there's a final beat, there's a half a beat, there's half a beat, that's a full beat. There's our missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can see that we're grouped in either beats or half a beat there, so you can visualize it as well as just add it up as well. Use all of these things just to help. Now this last little bit says etc, and so we know that that's not going to be a complete bar, so our job is done. So I think that's the tricky bit done with. Let's move on. So we're asked to write as a breve or a double whole note an enharmonic equivalent, so it would be a note that sounds the same but is written differently on a different pitch, like part of the stave, to this note here. So we've got to write a G sharp, bear in mind that's the G sharp above middle C, and so let's just think about that. G sharp, so we could call it A flat, so that will do. So make sure it's the one above middle C, and then we give it the lines to make it the breve or the double whole note, and then we just need to flatten it. It's just so much easier to visualize that on a piano keyboard sketch. So give the time name of the shortest rest in the extract. Well, we saw that here. That's a demi-semiquaver rest. There's another one there. There are no shorter ones than that. So it's a demi-semiquaver rest. So demi-semi-quaver. Alternatively, you could call it a 30-second note. It depends what terminology you're used to. Either one of those will be sufficient to get you the marks. So now we're not going to complete the next question over the page. This is replacing open score into short score, and although it's a nice question to complete, unfortunately, in my opinion, that's no longer on the exam. The new 2018 onwards newly revised syllabus, dear me, that's tricky to say, no longer has this choral question, and so although we did look at it in the Music Theory and Practice workbook, and it's certainly something that's worth having a look at, making sure that you know about it generally speaking, we don't need to do that for the exam. And so we'll leave this video at this point, and then we'll look at the next question in the next video. I do hope that that's been helpful to you. If you can give me a like, that'd be really great, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. Please also do go and have a browse around my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, there's lots of resource and information to help you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.